All right, let's get going. I'm so excited to hang out with you guys this evening. But I want to go through some announcements here, and we're going to get into some like bigger business training than we've done in a bit, getting into like the nitty gritty of what we do in building a sustainable, successful team and business here with Plexus. Real quick, first things first, I am still working through a lot of brain fog. So I'm not going to lie, formulating sentences right now feels really hard. So I apologize in advance. I got sick last week and I'm feeling a lot better, but one of the lingering things is still working through some brain fog. So taking extra supplements right now to get on with my life. Mamas don't have time to not feel well, and especially don't have time to like deal with this in their brains. It's already like, there's already enough going on in a mom brain, right? Like 500 tabs open in your brain. That's me. So if my sentences seem a little odd, just bear with me, because literally I feel a little bit more nervous than I want to, because just putting it together feels harder. But I just so feel strongly that this is our topic for tonight, and it's a perfect setup for the beginning of the year. It's also a perfect setup for what we're going to be plugging into next Monday. So next Monday night, Jennifer Leith is doing a convention contest strategy Zoom. And she had kind of set me her calendar for the next 6 months. She's like, here's what we got going down. Your team is so invited to plug into it. And I was like, holy smokes, yes, we are going to do that. And so one of the things coming up is all about convention contests and how to have a strategy for that. So tonight we're going to focus more so on business strategy overall. And then next week, break that down further into contest strategy. And I love that our contests always fuel a successful business. They go hand in hand, but this will be a great kind of setup for next week. A couple other announcements though, really quick before we go into this. Our commissions will be posted this week. I keep stalking the back office, but usually you get a sneak peek, right? A few days before it fully clears. So one of our paydays is the 15th. So soon be watching your back office. You'll see that sneak peek in your back office. Now, why am I mentioning this? For those of you that worked hard for Leaders Retreat contest, your Leaders Retreat credits are going to likely change when commissions clear. So things like rank advancements and maintaining rank, your team members doing the same thing, that is going to show soon. And I want to hear from you once you get the updated Leader Retreat credits. I want to hear where you're at. I have a running list going on my phone of who we will be seeing in Orlando. We will likely coordinate a dinner or something for the team. And I don't want to miss anybody as we form that thread and form plans for seeing Team Revive in Orlando. So keep me posted, message your sponsor as well. Shout outs will be necessary, I'm sure, for several of you who are waiting for that final update to see right where you landed after commissions clear. This Saturday is Super Saturday. If you haven't registered, there's details on Team Revive. There's a lot of exciting things happening. Be stalking a lot of the sapphires and diamonds this week as well. Many are flying out to corporate. I passed on that. I will be going out to corporate a couple of times later this year. And last year had a lot of travel. And so that's one wonderful thing about Plexus. You don't have to say yes to everything. I remember Lori Harrison telling me that when I was scared to ever be a jewel, because I was like, what if they ask me to do things? She was like, you can say no. So I have said no to flying out to corporate this week, but there are many diamonds and sapphires flying out there for some major things happening, not just on Saturday, but other things as well. So be watching their stories, and they're going to be going through corporate and touring that. They're doing a lot of fun things. Some of it you'll be finding out about. But if you're at all like me, I mean, FOMO is real. So be watching what they're doing. I did share a little bit of what Bridget Ryan shared on Momentum Makers. It's very exciting what is happening this year in our company. But Super Saturday is going to be great. Tune in wherever you are. If you have ambassadors or team members near you, invite them into your home, watch it together, take notes, and jump in fully. And then next week I mentioned, right, Jennifer Leith will plug into that. I'll put the details on Team Revive, the link and the time and all of that. And lastly, just a couple of shout outs, 53 new ambassadors already, or new VIPs, I should say, 53 new VIPs this month already. That's amazing. But some quick personal shout outs. KK has enrolled 7. Like, what? KK, when are we hearing from you? Is it 8 now? What in the world, girlfriend? Who needs to hear from KK on a Zoom ASAP? Like, can I like raise my feet too? Seriously, we're getting this girl on a Zoom in what, 2 weeks, KK? Is that right? The 20 something or other. We will be hearing from KK about what is working for her. And I'm just like, I know all of y'all are like chomping at the bit because you've been seeing this growth that she's experiencing. She's hiding already. It's going to be so good. You can come over here and sit by me and we'll do it together. Seriously, that'd be so cute. Okay. And then Noelle, Marielle, and Taylor have added 3. So they've already hit rock star status in the first, how many days of January is it? Is it the 10th? I mean, holy smoke. So wanted to do some quick shout outs there. All right. Can we get into some business training? I'm so nervous. Why do I get nervous? Every Monday night, I get so nervous, but you guys are gracious. Okay, I shared recently on Momentum Makers a quote from Kristen Boss. And if you don't know about Kristen Boss, look her up. You'll find her on YouTube. I know, what are their names? The Rainies, Kyle and Cassie Rainey. They were the first ones that I ever heard about her through, which I have so much respect for the Rainies. So immediately I was like, okay, I think I like Kristen. I don't know who she is, but I'm going to check her out. But they have a call with her on YouTube. Her podcast is phenomenal. I know many of you guys plugged in to her Sustainable Success in December. But one of the things that she mentioned within that training is the fact that customers are now money. But building a team is what is key to sustainable success. And I was tuning in with a Jewel training Zoom recently where Genevieve was talking about the same thing. Too often we can get busy chasing customers, chasing orders, and we lose sight of the bigger picture. And I so desire to really empower you guys this year to move beyond chasing orders into growing teams and growing leaders. And that's what creates that long-term residual income that grows with or without you, that you have money coming in when you're sleeping. You know, for many, that's the goal and that's the dream. Now, not everybody. For some, you may have a goal of $500 a month or having your products paid for, or a hobby is about as far as you want to take this right now. And that's totally okay. But I know one of the most beautiful things about network marketing is it really does hand you an opportunity on a platter and say, you can take this as far as you want to, and it's in your hands. I know for our family, after 10 years of not just pinching pennies, like beyond poverty, you know, we had a year or so that was just miraculous provision through charities and through ministries and food banks and friends. We could not afford one package of diapers Rayma's whole first year of life. The day she was born, there was 0 food in our pantry. We literally were believing God for food. And then from there, we got to where we qualified for food stamps and coupon cutting and, you know, kind of worked our way up. And by the time I joined Plexus, my budget for a family of 9 at the time was $100 a week. And that was to cover all the things, whether it was diapers for 2, possibly 3, who knows, kids in diapers, cleaning supplies, paper towels, everything needed to fit within $100 a week. And we were doing fundraisers for Judah, $1,000 a month were his medical needs. We had been praying and believing that God was going to provide a financial breakthrough for a decade. And I went to bed every evening thanking the Lord for opportunity, that he was going to give Chad a brilliant business idea, or he was going to bring Chad a job, or he was going to bring Chad something. And it was just going to be fantastic. And I had been praying that prayer for like literally 10 years. And my children would thank the Lord that he's going to bring a breakthrough and that daddy was going to have creative ideas for business innovations and Go daddy. That is how we like prayed and cheered. But lo and behold, he needed to use Chris Deary and network marketing. And that is what came. But when you've been praying for something for a decade and watching, I mean, like anytime Chad had an interview or met somebody that had a business or met with a mentor, I mean, we were watching and waiting of like, where is the answer going to come from? When you've been watching and waiting for that long and the answer comes, even though it was a bit surprising, we grabbed hold of it. And it was so empowering. I'm going to get emotional, but it was so empowering after so long of having no way to increase our income outside of selling things on like Craigslist. Like that was as far as I could go. I could sell, and I did. I sold about 80% of our belongings on Craigslist to put food on the table. Where there's a will, there's a way. Sold my piccolo. We were talking about that last night. I used to play flute and piccolo. It's so embarrassing. Don't tell anybody. But like we sold it. We sold Chad's nice bike. Allie's laughing. It is embarrassing. That was me. I was a band nerd through and through. But anyways, shoot, now I'm really flustered. But we sold everything. And that was like, if we needed more money, there weren't a lot of options to just go earn more money. And so when this came, suddenly there was some control to be had, that if I wanted to set a goal of like going on a trip with my family, of one of our first goals, and it sounds maybe silly to some of y'all, maybe this is a normal part of your life, but it hadn't been for us. We went to Chick-fil-A and the kids got to order whatever they wanted. We hadn't done that, like that is how broke we were. I did not go to Starbucks. I didn't go on mommy dates. Our kids missed most birthday parties they were invited to because we could not afford gifts. We couldn't justify it. It wasn't in the budget and we weren't going to go into debt for it. And so when I was given an opportunity, well, shoot, I was going to grab hold of it. And so the first goal was to pay for Chad's products. Second goal, I thought, well, man, maybe we wouldn't need fundraisers anymore. And then it just kept growing. My first dream board had things like get nails done, which now mine are done, but I hadn't been able to do that. One of my first things on the dream board was putting highlights in my hair and covering up the amount of grays that are popping through. And then those dreams have grown over time, right? As we've gone along the way. This is like such a gift. We can forget too easily what a gift this is. It's right in your hands that any goal you have, it's achievable. It's literally attainable. It takes some strategy. It takes grit. It takes overcoming fears and mindset obstacles. It takes you out of a job mentality of a 9-to-5 and working for a boss, and it turns you into the boss of your destiny. And you have to think differently than how so many of us have been trained. But the sky is the limit, that you can take this as far as you want to go. A key to that, though, is not just looking for people to sign up every month, not just looking for people to do 100 PV every month. That's going to be exhausting and will lead to burnout. The key is, what kind of a team do you want to develop? Now, if you're at all like me, that might scare the pants off you. Like developing a team, even just creating a team page on Facebook felt so scary because I don't feel like a team leader. In fact, especially at the time of starting Plexus, girl friendships intimidated me and scared me and were not a strength. And so thinking of myself as a leader, leading a team, developing friendships, I had to work through so much of like, why would people want to hear from me? Why would people want to be a part of what I'm doing? But I still took the steps. I still to this day am overcoming fears because this is what God's put in my hands to do, right? And I love it. And now my favorite friendships in the world have come through developing a team. It is such a gift. Okay, I've already like gone off my notes. I have all these things here in front of me. Let me like zero back in. Okay. I'm going to do screen share if I can. I'm going to use some slides from a talk that I gave at Jewel Training. So this will be interesting. We're not going to do the whole talk. Maybe someday I will give more of the talk, but I do want to use some of these slides and we're going to work through some things together as we formulate going after your goals for this year and breaking that down. So let me see if I can figure out how to do this still. Shared screen. All right. Can you guys see this? I got to move some of this so I can pull up on slideshow mode. Okay. You guys know who I am. Let's get through here. This topic was called measuring success. Let me kind of get situated here. And measuring your results, this was the big idea, is on a consistent basis is a key to our success. Oh, snap. Can I do it? Okay. What's measured improves. You know how when you're getting a new ambassador started, what do you tell them to do when they get their products? You tell them to take their measurements, right? You tell them to maybe keep a journal of things that they're experiencing in their body so they can kind of keep track of like symptoms that are leaving, because you often forget like that you used to have like left knee pain and then all of a sudden it's gone, right? You tell them to keep a journal. You tell them to measure their water intake. You have them track their progress. Why? You can see it if you're tracking it. If I take a before picture and an after picture, I'm more likely to see the differences and feel that much more encouraged and motivated to keep continuing, right? Than if I don't measure it and I don't track it. Whatever you measure improved. And if you are not in the habit right now of keeping track of your numbers, of your team, I want to establish that habit for you now. If it's a hobby, you don't need to. But if this is a career choice for you, you want to be tracking your numbers and tracking your team and mapping things out, just like an entrepreneur or any CEO of a company would be doing, right? But before we go into measuring success, it's super important to truly know, what does success mean to you? What is personal success? And what is professional success? And go ahead and even just take a moment to start writing some things down, but expound on this. Grab your spouse if you're married and really define for yourself, what is success? And why has the Lord brought you here? Is success simply to be an emerald or to be a diamond? I hope your definition is broader than that, because otherwise, when you get to that place, what do you do from there, right? What does a successful team look like to you? Write down some ideas. Is a successful team simply a team that has 1,500 points? Or is a successful team a positive team? What does a successful team culture look like to you? Is it filled with unity, right? Like for me, I don't want just a diamond team. I'm looking at, are we a positive team? How is our culture? And are we unified, right? Like there's so much more. Are we having fun? What is the culture within your team? What are you going after? So take time this week, tonight, whatever, and really hone in, what does success mean to you on a personal level and a professional level? And I want you to break down your life into at least 8 categories. Jot this down really quick. Well, actually, I'm going to walk you through it. I'm going to mention a few categories to your life, and I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Let me pull this out of screen share for a second. You're going to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is barely surviving and 10 is thriving. Okay. We won't take tons of time on this, but later you're going to go back to these categories and jot down some ideas of what needs to pivot and what needs to change, so that you can get to a place of thriving in every area of life. First category, how's your spiritual life going? Success is beyond business, isn't it? First things first, how's your spiritual walk doing? Are you barely thriving, barely surviving, or are you thriving? Are you at a 10 right now? If you're not at a 10, write down the first thing that comes to your mind of what is something you can implement to bring that up to a 10. Personal time with the Lord, time with worship and prayer. Okay. And like I said, we won't take tons of time on this because I want you to be able to circle back to it and really put thought into it. The second category is your mindset and your mental health. Are you barely surviving? Are your thoughts going rampant, or are you thriving and taking your thoughts captive? Are you growing in mental health and in personal development? Are you reading leadership books, positive mental attitude books? It's so important. It makes such a difference. We need the Bible too. That needs to be top. But I do recommend grabbing extra books that you can be reading and diving into. The third, if you are married, would be your marriage. Otherwise, your relationships. Okay. But how's your marriage doing? If you're dating, how's that relationship going? How are your friendships going? Are you thriving? Or are you barely surviving? Or are you somewhere in between? And what can pivot to improve your marriage this year? Can you implement a once a week date night or even an in-house date night? Back in the day, we could not afford date night. So we got Hallmark movies from the library, and that was our date. We'd watch a movie and then we'd sit down and talk and just connect because that was what we could afford. If you have children, parenting would be a category. How is your parenting going? And is there things that need to improve? Is there a book that you can grab? Is there a class you can take so you're thriving as a parent and in that role? How about your finances? As you are earning more money here, it's important to have a strategy with your finances. Something that we see often is as your finances are growing, your spending is also growing, and then you don't have a whole lot to really show for it, right? So do you have a strategy in place for saving, for investing? If you want to bring your spouse home full time, be chalking away this income into a savings account. Don't get used to spending it, right? Be prepared and set up so you can bring yourself home full time or a spouse home full time. Are you implementing strategy? Or is your money just kind of going out the window everywhere? Have a goal for debt-free living, I would say too, and plug that in. How's your time management? Have you ever taken a journal, just tracked your time for one day just to see how much time is spent scrolling on your phone? How much time is spent on a TV show or a movie or whatever? Another category could be your home, your car, your belongings. Are you taking care of what God's given you and stewarding it well? And then the last could be business. How's your IPA? How are you stewarding your team? If you have a job, you could add that category. This is something that Chad and I do on a yearly basis, and we bring our kids into the process too and have them break up their life into categories and really dial down like a self-evaluation. How am I doing in this area of my life? Truly, truly being honest with myself. How am I doing in this? And how can I improve? And then our goals come out of that. But that's just building on defining success for yourself this year. That's beyond your points in your rank. That's so important, isn't it? Okay, let me go back to this a second. All right. Why is it important to keep track of your metrics? What a fancy word. Really, I don't know why that's the word on this slide. Your numbers, keeping track of your patterns, it's going to be so revealing to you. There's too many times that you might get to where like subscriptions go through and you're like, oh my goodness, this is horrible where I'm at. But actually, if you compared it to the 28th of the previous month, you're like, oh wait, this is actually pretty similar. And this is what my team's capable of doing between the 28th and the 31st. You should know what your patterns have been. What is your team used to doing in those final magic days of every month, right? What are you guys capable of? What have you seen in the past? I've been tracking my points literally since my very first month in business, just on pad and paper, as a brand new silver. I don't even think I was a silver my first month because I added so many customers. I was keeping track of it. And I remember the very first time I got stuck at a rank, I was able to reach out to Lori Harrison, our upline diamond, and show her my numbers. I was able to show her, this is how many new people I've added every month. This is how many my team has added every month. This is what my PV's been every month. This is our points every month. I could show her my metrics. And then from there, she could kind of look at it and really help me pinpoint, okay, does something need to change? Do I just need to stay the course? Like, where do we need to go from here? But if I didn't have that, it'd be harder to develop a strategy, right? It is so important to be tracking your numbers. It will reveal so many things to you. But my favorite is patterns. We talk about seasons in this business all the time, right? I can easily see the beautiful ebb and flow over the last 7 years now by looking back at my metrics and looking back at our numbers. And so then in times that it might feel a little bit slower, I'm not caught off guard by it. I'm not discouraged by it. I know what's coming right around the corner. I get used to seeing the patterns, right? So it is so important to develop a system for yourself. We're not going to go through some of those. of keeping track of your numbers. Now, here's some ideas of things that you can be tracking, but I'll walk you through very simply how I do mine. Develop a system that's good for you, though. I mean, there's some fancy things. You could do spreadsheets if you like spreadsheets. I don't know how to do spreadsheets, so that's not what I do. But for me, if I have a personal enrollment goal, I just use sticky notes. I just have a pad of bright sticky notes and I stick it above my desk. Often I'll do it on my bathroom mirror too, depends. But say your goal is you're going to add 3 people every month. We'll grab 3 sticky notes and stick it on your mirror. For me, that's something tangible that I can see where I can write their names in as I go after that goal. But it's also something tangible that I can lay hands on and pray for and thank the Lord that He is stirring hearts of the right people who need this right now, and that He's giving me creative ideas, that He's going to lead me and nudge me as to what to post on social media. He's going to lead me and nudge me as to who to reach out to, right? And who to connect with, but that He is at work behind the scenes doing what I cannot see, stirring the hearts as I go after a goal. So that's how I'll do like a personal enrollment goal. On a daily basis, as much as possible, I'll just use a simple calendar from the dollar bins at Target. Almost every year, mine has been from the Target dollar spot. I don't know why it's called that because it's not a dollar anymore, but just have something where every night before you go to bed, you can write down, where's your team's enrollments at? Where's your contest points at? Where's your team points at? And, as you track it through the month, you can compare month to month. So like today's the 10th, you can see how your points are doing compared to other months on this same exact date. That's a beautiful comparison. That way you're not going blind through the month, but you can really have a good gauge this early in the month of where your team's at and whether you need to kind of adjust or pivot your goal for the end of the month, right? So you can keep track of your new joins, your personal and your team new joins. You can be keeping track of who's showing up to your opportunity calls, who's doing messenger events, how are the results that follow those events? Are they working? You can make a decision based on what you're seeing after that. Hey, do you need to pivot a little bit? Are those working well for you, or does something need to shift? Keep track of your list of names, whether it's just on your phone right now. Mine's on my phone, of who I'm talking to, who's been curious about the products, but maybe hasn't joined yet, right? Keep track of those that have joined you that you want to be checking in with on a monthly basis or whatever it is for your follow-up. Keep track of your personal development. What books are you going to read this year? What if you picked out 12 books in advance and you kept track of it as you work through your list? Okay, find out what's going to work for you, but get into a habit of consistently tracking your results. All right, let's talk about building a team a little bit and what it looks like to draw it out. I would say show of hands, but I can't see y'all. All I see is my screen. But if you have never drawn out your team, I can't wait for you to start doing this habit. I would say up through, for sure, senior Ruby, at that point, the team starts getting bigger. So I had to break up the team into different pages. But this is a habit that single-handedly, I would say, helps me strategize and move the needle in my business more than anything else. There is something that happens when you draw out your team that you can start finding gaps a lot faster than simply scrolling through a lot of lines in your back office, right? Have you ever gone to the back office and you click on points and rank up and you start scrolling through and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start. I just see all these people and all these names. For me, visually, if I put it into this type of a format with circles, this is like old school network marketing, doing it this way, I can see visually where my team is at. And so if you are a gold or beneath gold, I want you, even right now, if you have another device next to you, pull up your back office, log in, go to points and rank up, and draw out your team. If you are at a rank above gold, if you are a senior gold or above, I want you to go into your back office and find a gold or a senior silver on your team. And I want you to draw out their team. Go ahead and even take a moment to do that. If you need help finding it, let me know. At any time, literally unmute and raise your hand or ask a question. This is a completely made up team on the screen right here. We'll call her Susie. One of my friends at corporate put this together. He said, everyone on here is a friend of his. So I don't know who these people are. This is not a real team, but it gives an example of what this can look like. And as you can see here, Susie has gone very wide. She's developed a lot of level ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Throw in the chat, what rank is Susie based on what you see of her team right here? And can I even see the chat? Shoot, I can, right? Hey, babe. Chatty Daddy's here. What rank is Susie, you guys? Or you can unmute and tell me. Anyone know?
Senior silver.
That's right. That's right. She's got at least 50 points going, right? And so far, which this is normal, I would say, at senior silver, so far, she's mainly reached this rank herself, hasn't she? If she continues this pattern, she will fall into the habit of chasing orders, not building leaders. Is that right? She has a lot of level ones, but has she developed any silvers yet? She hasn't. Brianna has added one person, which is amazing. But if I was coaching Susie, one of the first things that we would need to focus on is developing silvers. Hi. All right, I'm going to show you another example while you guys are working on yours as well. Monica is also a senior silver. Okay, she hasn't gone as wide, but she has 2 ambassadors who are working hard. But do you guys see anything that you would need to focus on that you can spot when you draw it out this way that really would not be easily noticed by simply looking at a back office? When I look at Monica's team, one of my first questions is going to be finding out a little bit about Rachel. And I want to find out about Amy. Does Amy know that she's so close to silver? And is anyone coaching Amy to silver? Does Rachel realize that it would benefit her well to go ahead and go silver outside of Amy? Or how about Deborah's leg? Down, tap rooted in that leg, we have Mary who's rocking it. She's gone silver, but no one above her has gone silver. So these are people to be connecting with, right? And do you see that in drawing this out, you start to recognize these gaps? If you were to help Rachel go silver, Amy go silver, Tiffany and Dolly and Deborah go silver, it's quite possible Monica is blowing past gold this month just by helping her team reach their goals. But also there's a deficit here in how wide she is. She's going to need to grow outside these 2 strong legs. She has 2 wonderful things happening here. But what should her goal be every single month for new level ones? We focus on it plenty, right? Rockstar status, adding 3 new level ones every single month should still be Monica's goal. So in drawing out her team, we can see where a strategy needs to be implemented, right? In developing strong growth underneath her while still going wide. You always want to go as wide as you can, cast that net wide, but there is definite strategy to implement as you build a team beneath you. And it is so helpful to draw it out this way. This is something that I love doing one-on-one with you guys. Let me just plug that. If you need help doing this individually, find me on Voxer app. And this is something that we can be doing together. If your team, I would say, is beyond gold, draw out your team by legs. So I had a notebook when our team was smaller of every team on a different page. And every time a new ambassador joined, I would fill it in on that page. So I continued to have a bird's eye view of how healthy that team was and who to be working with and how to strategize, right? You help enough people reach their goals, your goal happens automatically. It's the most beautiful thing about network marketing. But doing this right here, taking yourself off of a screen and off of all of those lines and putting pen to paper and drawing it out will help you see deficits as well as strengths. It'll help you key in on your leaders, but it might also, you might draw it out and realize like, oh my goodness, I have some work to do, or I need to find some business builders, or I need to be developing silvers, right? So I want you to write down a few things that are going to be a main focus for you every single month in 2022. The first, you already know, have a goal of adding at least 3 level 1s every month. So top of your list, your personal goal, add 3. But let's take it some steps further of monthly goals. Out of every 5 people that you enroll, at least 1 should be silver. So make a note later on tonight. I want you to count how many level 1s do you have? And then count what is your percentage right now of your silver development rate. If it is under 10%, your bathtub is draining faster than it can be filled. Okay, the sweet spot is 20%. You will be in unstoppable momentum if 20% of all of your people are hitting silver. You will literally be unstoppable. That is momentum right there. So be looking, 1 out of every 5 people that you enroll, and then duplicate that on your team. 1 out of every 5, are you helping them get to silver? What can that conversation look like? It's going to be different with every person. There isn't, in my opinion, there is not a perfect script to this. A lot will come down to relationship, but you can be planting seeds along the way. When they're signing up as a VIP and they're picking out their welcome pack, what's one of the steps? They're putting in their referral link, right? And so within that first conversation, you can be talking about the fact that, hey, you're going to be setting up a referral link. Go ahead and use your first and last name. And as you go, people are inevitably going to come to mind that would love these products as well. I will help you every step of the way, but I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least show you the income potential that is possible here, even in just adding 3. Like as fast as possible, I want people to know they can earn over $300 by having 3 friends join them. That isn't going to hurt their feelings by saying that. They might roll their eyes. I did, but you need to at least expose them, because even when I was added to a team page and I rolled my eyes, I was being exposed to opportunity, right? And I was invited to a chat and I rolled my eyes, but I was being exposed to opportunity. When I saw what going silver meant, I was like, great, but I'm not building this, right? But I was exposed to it. Those were seeds planted. And so then when the time was right, I was in and I wasn't going anywhere. Be planting seeds. So when they create that referral link, you're planting a seed that they have their own referral link that they can use when they're talking to others about Plexus, or when someone asks them what they're drinking, right? When they get their products, you can plant a seed about making a first post. Some will, some won't. So what? It's going to be okay. When they try their pink drink for the first time, they could make a post if they want to. Some will and some won't. Keep going, but they can make a post about what it tastes like, right? Walk them through these different opportunities. And at some point early in those conversations, show them the graphic. There's a new one every month that shows what is possible if they add 3. They need to at least be exposed to the opportunity. Don't discount somebody. Don't assume that they don't want to be on a team page. Don't assume that they don't want this, whatever. They might think they don't, but it might be exactly what they need. My story is always what comes back to my mind. I did roll my eyes at it. I didn't want this. I was frustrated to be added to a team page. I didn't want to be put in any chats. Like, no, absolutely no. I even told Chad, did I not? I was like, oh my gosh, Chad, Heather wants to add me to this chat where people are posting 3 times a week. I can't believe that she would even have the audacity to say that. Literally, was so mad that she would think I would post about Plexus 3 times in 1 week. And within probably days, I was posting 3 times a day because I was so excited. But you're going to have people that respond that way. And that means nothing because you never know what God is doing. I didn't know. I just didn't know. I did not know what I was a part of. And I didn't know until I was on that team page. And then I happened to catch a call and I started catching on to the culture and I started catching on to the vision. I started catching on that there was opportunity here and that this was different than anything else we had ever seen or done before. So do not discount your people. Keep dripping opportunity on them. If you do this, at least 1 out of every 5 will be hitting silver. I can guarantee it, but you have to drip the opportunity and at least expose them to what's available. Okay. So you're enrolling 3 every month. 1 out of every 5 that you enroll is a silver, if not more. And that's going to be your silver development rate. I do encourage you to figure out what is your current silver development rate and then have a goal to increase that as soon as possible. And it will shift the trajectory of your business. But how about your gold conversion rate? The next thing you need to look at is how many of your silvers are going past that to senior silver and gold? Are you having people stuck and plateaued at silver? Or are you able to coach them and lead them past that to gold? Okay. 1 out of every 4 silvers should be going gold. That's going to be your goal every month to be looking at as you draw out your team, checking yourself. How am I doing on this? Am I developing any of my silvers past silver to gold? You'll start with senior silver and break down helping 10, right? And then from there, helping 20 and get them to gold. Now, helping someone go gold, it can look like 20 level 1s. Ideally, though, it looks like a senior silver, a few silvers, and some level 1s, right? Developing teams, not chasing orders. The last goal that I want you looking at on a monthly basis and tracking is I want you to kind of be peeking at your outside leg points. Okay. And sometimes that's a confusing topic, that outside primary leg. This can pertain and it can bite you in the buns later in your business journey. You do not want to be overly dependent on one strong leg. You want to be growing as wide as you can, and you want to have a healthy team. And I remember a leader, I don't even know who said it, but it stuck with me. And I look at my outside leg points all the time. And I have a competition with myself ever since this conversation. But I think it was in Hawaii, like at the spa or something, that someone said this. I'm pretty sure it was like a jacuzzi moment, first time in Hawaii, shaking in my boots. But she said, you can really gauge what you truly are as a leader and what your rank really is by your people's outside their primary leg points. So you might have someone that says, oh yeah, I'm a ruby, or I'm an emerald, or I'm a whatever. But if you look at their organization, their outside leg points is 100 points, 250 points. Then an honest evaluation of their leadership lid is more like, I'm actually a gold. I'm a senior gold. Look at your outside leg points. So when I look, mine last month were almost diamond in my outside leg points, 4,200 outside leg points. My goal is that my outside my primary leg points are at least diamond. I want to always be bigger in that category than my primary leg. I never want to be dependent on one leg, but grow as wide as I can and develop many leaders and many strong organizations underneath me. So I'd encourage you to take a peek at that on a regular basis. How are your outside primary leg points doing? If you need any help looking at that or further understanding that, shoot me a message. But it's something to be watching for, especially as your team gets larger and larger and you start looking at jewel ranks. You want to keep that good and strong and sturdy, never dependent on one person or one team. Let me see if I want to do any others here. All right, with Brittany. Y'all, what would be the first thing? Someone shout it out, unmute, and let me know. What's the first thing Brittany needs to focus on? Can you catch it?
Going silver.
Going silver.
Yes, bless her heart. Dolly is taking off, but Brittany still needs to go silver, right? And she could easily double rank silver and senior silver. But as a leader, are you going to get to know Dolly? I sure hope so. I would be getting to know Dolly and getting to know her people. Tap rooting is beautiful. It is not overstepping. It is hand-holding and developing a team underneath you. And you will meet and develop some of your best friends in that process. But as much as possible, be looking at where can you be booking an event, book an event from an event. The best momentum you can get is if you do a sip and see for Dolly and these people show up. By the end of that night, can you find out if Tiffany or Pam or Deborah, they want to have a sip and see or a messenger event the following week? Perfect. Book it and get it on the calendar. And then from their event, book another one the following week. And once you can get into booking an event from an event and getting it into a weekly basis, you will not be able to stop your momentum. That was one of the first things that Jennifer Leaf told me. I implemented it the next month. It took us from stuck at senior gold for 6 months to enrolling over 20 new people and going Ruby. And that momentum continued through events to Emerald by the next year. It was the best advice I was ever given, and I've seen it every time. It's a key to momentum. All right. Don't measure anything unless the data helps you make a better decision or change your actions. You could be busy creating the best spreadsheets of all mankind, but if it's not helping you move the needle, don't waste your time, okay? So find what works for you. I shared with you what works for me. It's just jotting down my points at the end of the evening. If I'm not near my notebook, I take a screenshot so I can put it in later, right? I have my ways of tracking it. Find your ways of tracking your numbers, but make sure it's the metrics that help you move the needle. The ones that I shared, those goals of adding 3 and checking your silver rate and your gold development rate, those are key to truly build a long-term sustainable business. One last thing I want to focus on, then I'll go back to not sharing my screen. This top point here, that data is there to help you and not hurt you. Sometimes looking at your back office can be a trigger. Sometimes it can stir up emotions in you that you don't even want to deal with. You look, and especially like the more we care about our people, the more it hurts, right? It's so easy to go into your back office and you're looking at names. I know this firsthand because I've had to choose to remove my emotions from the data, because I can go into my back office to begin strategizing. And next thing I know, I'm spiraling into woe is me land, and I'm a horrible leader land, and I messed up land. Like I can see the people that I love building this business with, and they're no longer here, or customers that needed these products and they're no longer ordering, or whoever, Stella turned her subscription off, or you know what I mean? Like, you can feel the emotions in that. It's okay to feel that. Go ahead and address it, but then move past it and know that this data is important. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid your numbers and truly grow a sustainable business. You have to be willing to get your hands dirty and get in there into the nitty gritty, even if it hurts, and truly develop that strategy then for the next level, right? But you have to maintain what we talked about at the very beginning. How do you define success? And do you have it firmly established in your heart that your identity is beyond what you see in that back office? Your identity is beyond your numbers right now. That is not the sum of who you are. And so that's why we started with that point, and I want to end with that point. Firmly establish what success means to you. To me, success is obedience, right? Yes, I have goals that I want to achieve, but I have to stay grounded in what success means to me. It's obeying what he's putting in front of me to do on a daily basis and stewarding well what he's put in my hands, right? But I did just want to hone in and touch on, I'm aware of the tenderness that can happen and is needed as you sometimes pull up your numbers and draw this out. It can hurt a little bit, but then allow that to put a fire under your bones to set strategy for what's to come. Is this helpful at all, you guys?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Is there any questions? What time is it? Are there any questions that popped up in doing that activity? And like I said, I love doing it one-on-one. So reach out to me if you're like, I'm stuck, I can't draw out my team. But did anything pop up that came to your mind?
I had a question. I have people on my team that have been on my team for years, and they stopped ordering. They called and canceled their membership before it renewed, but they're still on my list. And when I call and say, how do I remove these people from my list? I can't see which ones, or I don't know how to read the report to know which ones I can have removed, because it would help me to clear the clutter. To at least move them to a different list, to say, I've had 2 people join back in that I was able to clear when they were interested in joining back. But that's my question, is how do I know who I can clear, to clear the names that bog me down when I see them, because part of me feels like I lost that person.
Yeah, I think if there's ever some names that you're like, hey, I know they canceled, and could you just help me get them cleared off my back office? You could always email me and I'll get that to Diamond Support. They can usually do that within an hour for us. So that's one way. Beyond that, one of the first things I do when I go to my back office is I sort my list. And where's KK? KK was flabbergasted that you can do this. So I'm going to guess that some of y'all don't know how to do this. But when you go to your back office, all of those columns can be sorted in KK. I should just have you teach us. Because that was the humbling moment. I'm like, wow, I'm the worst leader ever that I haven't shown her this. But I can sort it by join date. So if I go to the column where it says join date, I can click it twice and it's going to show me all the newest people, right? Becca, are you serious? I'm looking at faces. I can sort it by who has a subscription on. And so Rita, one thing you could do is even start with that, like who has a subscription? Wait, Christy too? Wait, for real, y'all? Shoot, see, okay, I'm going to have to like,
I've always sorted the subscription column because that's how I scan down and make a list. But I don't know the rest.
Okay. Yeah. So all of these columns, I mean, I think it's easier on a computer personally, but at the end of the month, when I'm tracking my team's points to jot it down on my notebooks, I just go to team points and I tap it twice. And what happens when I tap it twice? The largest teams are on top and it starts going down. That makes it really easy for me to do a quick check to ensure that every business builder has 100 PV. So that's super simple, right? You log in. I can't look at y'all's faces, right? Shoot, you guys. Oh, I'm learning. Okay, I'm not gonna attach my emotions to this data that you're giving me right now because snap. Okay. But yeah, so I would even say, Rita, go into last month or look at the last few months. And if you sort it each month, sort it by PV and do it twice. So then you have all of your people that are ordering and write down that list in a page that can be stuck maybe to your calendar or your planner. And that those are your people that you're checking in with on a monthly basis. So then you can pull it off the back office. You've got your data. These are the people who have ordered in the last 6 months, or these are the people who have ordered in the last 3 months. These are the ones that you're consistently checking in with as customers. And from there, you can start developing a strategy. Is there anyone that is ready to go silver? If not, we're going to grow past that, right? And then you can grow on pen and paper. As you continue to grow your team, you can kind of put them in their place there. And that can help. I like having my list outside of my dashboard. This is a lot of data. I like to see it pen and paper, especially in circles, because I can quickly see silvers, senior silvers. I can see who's going wide, right? That's super helpful. Any other questions?
Next week's Zoom.
Next week we'll do a back office tour. Shoot.
KK shaking her head.
Really?
Really?
Has someone done one already on YouTube and I could like post it?
KK will lead it next week, right?
Okay, KK is doing the back office
KK
tour.
and Becca are going to team up and do a back office tour. There's
probably more on there that because KK knows there's like a compensation plan chart on the back office. I had to ask her where that was. I mean, there's more available at our fingertips than we even fully utilize. And then you've got like spreadsheet gurus that export their data and like use formulas and do amazing things like that.
Can I say something really quick?
Please do.
Okay, well, first of all, where did that come from? Hello, Miss Jewel Trainer, Krista Deary. That was like, more of that, please. Like, that was amazing. My mind is so blown, like my nose. Really? I keep like, I'm so,
really?
Yes, really.
Because if you saw the amount of sweat in my sweatshirt armpits right now.
So, but secondly, like hearing all of this, I don't know about anyone else, but I feel the overwhelm kind of go like, whoa, like, oh my gosh, I have all of these customers. Like I've been enrolling like crazy. And I'm like 1 out of every 5 going silver. oh my gosh, I want to like hide in a hole right now. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? But I just want to say, like, if you're feeling that overwhelm, just like take that in and recognize like that's your thoughts. Like, where am I struggling in my thoughts that is keeping that feeling of overwhelm? Because you have full control over what's going on in your business. And like for me, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to like really step out of myself to get people to silver. And I really want to do that. It's so easy for me to just like, happy customers, everyone's happy. But like, I don't even mention the business to people. And we've talked about this. Like, this is just so good. And I feel the overwhelm, but I just want to let others know, like, if you're feeling that overwhelm, like this is a lot of information, just take it in and recognize where your thoughts are holding you back from moving forward in it, and just take little pieces at a time. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. And just focus on what you can do today. That's great. And inevitably, as you draw out your teams, you're going to notice like, oh my goodness, I hope that you see like, if I help this person go silver and this person go senior silver, and if I help this one go gold, like you hopefully can start seeing the formation of exactly what your Ruby team's going to look like, or your senior Ruby team is going to look like, right? Because then from there, you're breaking down your numbers. Say you have a goal to add 20 people this month. Well, that's great. But where is it coming from? Do you know what your team members' goals are? Who's adding 3 on your team this month? And you right, like, or if your goal is to add 100 people to hit the next rank or whatever it is, how are you breaking that down? Is it just this lofty number that you're throwing out and you're hoping you hit it at the end of the month? Or can you look at your team and draw it out and say, okay, 20 of those are coming from this team right here, this leg, and then 20 are going to come from this leg, right? That changes it. Then you've got teamwork, right? Making the dream work. Everyone's working together, rowing at the same speed, the same direction, and you know what you're going after. KK told me what? KK's got gold, I tell you. Yes.
Krista.
Yeah.
I say to you, I actually did a Zoom because that's what I'm trying to do to get to know Tracy's team. And I'm going to offer one every week just to get to see their faces and know them and ask them what their goals are. And is there any way I can help you? Because I want to get to know them. So that was a confirmation because I just did that last week. Only one showed up. It's okay. I'm still going to do it again. And I named my team Iron Sharpens Iron. God gave me that. And I'm just going to keep doing the things. And if I just do it for one person, it's okay. Because I want them to get to know, I want to get to know them. And also I want to know their goals too.
Yeah, that's so good.
I have a question.
Yes.
So like when you're talking about 1 in 5, right? So I have these conversations whenever somebody's signing up. I'm like, hey, by the way, 3 people, like, let's do this. You know, this is the compensation plan. Like, you know, you can just make it, just grab your sister, your best friend, your mom, like, you know, kind of that stuff. But then a lot of times it's like crickets. And then they love the products and they're like, yeah, I'm ready. You know, I love this stuff. And, you know, they'll do that. But then it's again, like crickets. Like, how do you, I guess, motivate them without being like obnoxious and like keep, hey, you can add, hey, like, how do you do that? Like in a tactful way, you know what I mean? That's not like you hounding them to add 3.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And, you know, ideally it's going to be as natural as possible. And so there's not going to be a script, which I fall back on a lot, right? There might be a diamond documentary that comes to mind that relates to that person, and you send them that diamond documentary. There might be a training that you come across that exposes opportunity. I feel like it has to be exposed to them, and often through third-party validation, how real this opportunity can be. So whether it's a post where I've shared about our income, I know there's one on the team page from one of the times our check had gone over 20,000. And so it's exposing some people. All they need to see is there's money there. And they're like, oh, okay. She's like actually making money. It's not just $1,000, right? So sometimes it's going to be sending a video, just dripping it that way. Sometimes KK, I don't know if this was the case with you or Greta, I'm trying to remember y'all's journeys as I look at like level ones that are on this call right now. Sometimes when I get a good update from somebody, like they're feeling really good, that's when I'll say, hey, this would be you should share that. Like you should let people know. Not everyone does it, but I'll at least put it in their heart. And depending on if I can pick up whether they're like a yellow personality or more of a red, like a red, they're like, show me the money, but a yellow is more like how I was driven, where I'm just going to put a seed in their heart that you never know who is watching you on social media, who is praying for this answer to their health. And it's arrogant and prideful for us to really keep it. And there are times I will say that. There's times I'm not going to say that. It's going to go as organic as possible, depending on that relationship I have with them. But sometimes it is crickets, but you have at least planted that seed, but they have to be exposed to it. So I add everyone to the team page. That was a hurdle I had to get over early in my business because it used to scare me. I'd like ask permission. I was like, so we have like this page. I could add you if you want to, but if you don't like it, you can always get off of it. Like literally would tell them like paragraphs long trying to explain this team page. Now I'm like, I'm adding you to the team page. This is what you need to be on. Like I tell them what they need because I know they need it. Right. But I know that's also where they will be exposed to more, exposed to culture, exposed to a diamond dog. Right. So yeah, that's not like a great answer because it does look different every time and every person.
It is a great answer. It's just, trying to figure out creatively how to like follow up and,
follow your heart and let it be organic conversations. You're building trust with people. You're getting to know them. You're getting to know like what they want out of this deal. Some people, they may not even want more, and that's okay. You're just looking for those that do, and talking about on your social media, every time you get paid, throw something up of what that means to you. Does it cover a car payment? Does it cover a house payment? Does it cover your groceries? They just have to be exposed that it really works. We didn't think it really, like we saw that it had worked for people, but most people in our like sphere at that time, like I remember hearing of a girl that made $400 a month in essential oils. And I was like, whoa, like I literally considered selling essential oils based on her $400 a month, but I saw how much she was out of the home delivering the oils and doing in-home parties. I knew I couldn't do that. But once I saw opportunity with Plexus that I could make money without leaving the house, and I saw stories that were like me, like Jennifer Leith, her water was turned off, just like ours was turned off. Right. One of the first calls I saw was Kelly Norman, and they had been in business for themselves and lost everything just like us. So those stories resonated and it cast vision for me. And that's what you can do for others. You're just continuing to drip it. And kind of like a farmer in a field, you don't know exactly what seed's coming up where. You just keep doing the work, and the Lord really gets to surprise you. Sometimes the people you think are totally going to run with it surprise you, and they don't. And the ones that aren't even on your radar are all of a sudden posting. You're like, wait, I didn't even tell you to post. Where'd that post come from? Well, hey, let's get going. So it's fun. It keeps the wonder in it all.
Thank you.
Should we close in prayer? Sorry, it's 10 o'clock. Oh, my mercy sakes. Farming. Who's laughing at my farming analogy? Let's close in prayer.
All right, that's cool.
I truly do mean it, you guys. Business coaching on Voxer app. It doesn't matter what level you are to me, but if you want more help in this, please do reach out. Okay. All right, Chatty Daddy.
Cool. You're a good trainer.
I just want to crawl in my shell right now so bad. Like, just close it. Close the call. Close the call.
Oh, so good.
You guys are so kind to me.
It's good for them to see how you trained out in Plexus corporate land. All right. Father God, we love you. We thank you for just working and doing the work through us and in us. And we just thank you, Father God, for your words and direction. Just know, Lord, that anything that's good that's happening in this business is from you. And so we just thank you in advance of all the detail, all the nitty gritty, all the planning. And we just thank you in advance. And just as KK was even talking, I was reminded of just something I was praying about today, which just kept hearing this phrase, pink flamingo, pink flamingo. And you never hear blue flamingos or black flamingos. You always hear pink flamingos and see pink flamingos. And the reason why we see that, and obviously, is if you study them, as they are what they eat, and whatever they consume, they become. And just like KK was talking about, that thought process, that mindset, that I really believe that the Lord kind of highlighted that tonight of just what are we consuming? Some of these things, when it's tossed in our face, are we getting anxious and nervous and overwhelmed? And then that is what we're becoming. And that's, the pink little shrimp that we're showing on the outside, or are we casting those cares away? And so I just really believe that the Lord is asking you, what are you feeding yourself on today? And what is, the cycle? What is the program that you're determined to continue to loop in your mind? And the Lord is very clear that whatever we sow in our lives, we're going to reap. And if we are reaping thought process of fear, anxiety, it's just going to continue to pop up. If we choose and we determine to break that cycle, then that cycle will no longer breathe that pink flamingo into our lives. And so we just thank you, Father God, that you are giving us authority over our thoughts, or authority over our mind, or authority over anything that the enemy is trying to come in and paint a different picture of who we really are in you. And so right now we just even take like an aggressive approach. Aggressive approach would be like a farmer taking a machete and just cutting it down. And so we just cut down every thought that doesn't line up to the word, every thought that doesn't line up to being a child of God, all the cares and all the junk we just put off to the side. And we just focus on the beauty of the Lord and what he's doing in our lives, and the strength that he has, not that we have, but the strength that he has. And we just thank you that we become what we're saturated and thinking of. And so we receive that tonight. And I just declare that over each and every one of our team members, that they don't leave tonight overwhelmed. They don't leave tonight looking at what they haven't done, but they look at what you can do and what you're doing, and the wisdom of Solomon that is being inputted and entrusted into you right now. So we thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. All right. Love you guys so much. Can't wait to keep mapping out your teams and your goals. It's going to be a good year, good month. Mwah. Sleep tight.